everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how to revise your writing. This is one of the most important parts of any kind of a writing assignment. I know for me personally, if I'm sending an email, I always read it over thoroughly to make sure that there's no spelling errors. So it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. And I always get feedback from either Mr. Lofshine, Mrs. Dice, or Mr. Hayes to help me to make sure that my writing is the best possible. So we're going to be using this Jamboard checklist after you're finished your writing. So use your editing symbols during your writing. Now we're going to use our revising checklist after. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure you put in the information, your name, the date, and the title of the writing. Step 1 says, read it out loud or use read and write to make sure it makes sense. So the read and write tool is up here in the corner, and you can definitely use that throughout your writing, and you can use the play or the pause button to hear it out loud to you. So that's this play button here. So let's select our writing so that we can see if it makes sense.
The boy was going to the park and he wanted to play with the other boy and he was going to have fun with the boy. Cancel. Save.
So I can hear in there, well, I can see first of all that there are spelling errors. We never ever want to submit writing when it has the red or the blue underline. So we need to make sure we change those. And I'm also noticing it's a bit of a run-on sentence. So let's look at the revisions that I made to that sentence. And let's see if it makes more sense. So the boy was going to the park when he saw another boy. He decided to ask him to play so they could have fun together. So I got rid of my spelling errors and I made 2 sentences instead of 1 just to clean it up. Once you've done that, you can use your pen tool and you can choose a color you want and check off step 1, which is read it out loud or use read and write to make sure it makes sense. Let's look at step 2. Go through and change simple vocabulary to stronger synonyms. Remember, we're in grade 5 now, so we don't need to be using basic vocabulary. So let's take a look at what we had. The boy was going to the park when he saw another boy. He decided to ask him to play so they could have fun together. So a couple of basic words that I see is saw and fun. Let's look at what we changed it to. The boy was going to the park when he observed another boy. He decided to ask him to play so they could have a day filled with excitement and connection. So I went and changed basic vocabulary to stronger synonyms. Don't change every single word to a stronger synonym because then it gets too complicated, but choose specific ones that make sense. So since I completed that on my checklist, I can, boom, check it off. Let's look at the next step. Go and change emotions or actions to show, not tell. So this part would be adding description. So let's see what we had. The boy was going to the park. So I think I could maybe change that when he observed another boy. He decided to ask him to play so they could have a day filled with excitement and connection. So let's see where I changed the show, not tell parts. The boy skipped with excitement to the park, his heart skipping with him, hoping to find a friend. So that totally changes just going to the park. Out of nowhere, that's a good show, not tell, he observed another boy. Walking slowly towards him, another great show, not tell, he softly asked if the boy wanted to play so they could have a day filled with excitement and connection. Great changes. So many more details. I can definitely picture that way better in my head. So since I've added show, not tell for emotions and actions, I'm going to check that off. Boom, good to go. My next step is read it out loud to a family member or friend to get feedback. So I actually read this to Mr. Hayes and he gave me some really great pieces of feedback. So it started as our first one here. The boy skipped with excitement to the park, his heart skipping with him, hoping to find a new friend. So Mr. Hayes told me that the repetition of the word skipping could have been better. Out of nowhere, he observed another boy. Mr. Hayes told me, what was the boy doing? Where was the boy? How did he see him? Walking slowly towards him, he softly asked if the boy wanted to play so they could have a day filled with excitement and connection. And then Mr. Hayes told me that I should add a little bit of information about how the other boy was. So here's my final product. The boy skipped with excitement to the park, his heart jumping along with him, hoping to find a friend. Out of nowhere, he observed another boy sitting by himself in the sand. Much clearer picture. Walking slowly towards him, he gently asked if the boy wanted to play. Mr. Hayes thought gently was a better synonym for softly. With no hesitation, a smile sprouted on the other boy's face. So that kind of shows they were both looking for a friend, and it definitely adds to the story. They were in for a day filled with excitement and connection. So look at how far my rating came from this first sticky note up here to these last two sticky notes down here. Big difference, big change. Revising is the heart of your writing. So I want you to use this every time you think that you're finished your writing, and I want you to make sure you include all of your details and don't turn it in until you've checked off all of these sections for your sticky note. Good luck.